try your best, but you don't succeed. When you get what you want, but not what you need. When you feel so tired, but you can't sleep. Stuck in rivers, and the tears come streaming down your face.
Hi, and welcome to the Dawn Show. Dawn Stensland-Menti here. Today we're talking about empowering your kids to stand up to bullies and those mean girls in school and, of course, in life. This is about real life skills, and I know that you think this can't happen to me. It happened to one of my kids, and it's something that until it happens to your child or a child who's close to you, you think, oh, that's not going to happen. It happens to those kids. We want to arm you as parents, as caregivers, arm you so that you can help your kids. And we hope that you call in today live to talk to my very special guest and new author, Master Ron Zohar, who is founder of Personal Power Martial Arts and author of the book, Nobody Picks on Me. And I mean nobody, right?
That's right.
It's so good to have you here.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So you're somebody who, obviously you're an award-winning martial arts expert, and
right.
In fact, in the world, you've won big awards. And so you start with this in martial arts. And along the way, how do you end up teaching kids and speaking to school groups and speaking across the region about bullying? How did that transformation happen?
Well, you know, it's funny because years ago when I first started, a lot of parents considered martial arts a solution for bullying. So back in those days, if somebody had an issue with a bully, mom and dad would bring him to a martial arts school. And that's really how I kind of began researching this area and developing my own techniques. What I found that in more recent years, less parents are considering martial arts as a viable solution. So even though we see bullying all over the headlines, you know, it's a huge deal now in schools. Surprisingly few parents actually, when I ask parents, why did you bring your child to my martial arts program? Surprisingly few actually say bullying. So I realize it's about time to really kind of share the message of what martial arts is all about, because I think some people may get the wrong idea, and how it really can be a very powerful tool, not just against bullying, but teaching kids, empowering kids, how to stand up for themselves, how to become leaders rather than, you know, following the crowd or becoming loners.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, as you know, I was in the news business for 20 some odd years, and reporting all the problems, reporting things like the tragedy that happened to a Florida girl who was so bullied and even cyberbullied, Facebook bullied, that she ended up hanging herself with a belt and committing suicide within the last few days. We see kids across the country dealing with this issue, and the parents say, I had no idea.
Right.
And you have kids in your class sometimes, right, who've confided in afterwards, Master Ron, I witnessed bullying and I knew what to do, or somebody tried to bully me.
That's right, and you know, the whole cyberbullying, that's a new thing that our generation as parents, we didn't really experience that. Mm-hmm. So, and many parents are so behind technologically that they are not even aware that that's going on. And on the playground, it's getting meaner. You know, when I think when we were kids, the attitude was, okay, you just kind of deal with it and move on, but we're seeing now that there's some serious consequences if it's not dealt with early on. Like you said, tragic consequences.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is real stuff. For you, and now your book, tell me about your book, Nobody Picks on Me. So it's being released first through Amazon?
That's right. It's going to be released on September 28th through Amazon in electronic format. So that means you can read it on Kindle, Nook, iPad, and then in December it's going to be released in print.
And this is interesting because although you're somebody who speaks in schools and you have your own Personal Power Martial Arts Center, you're teaching mostly kids there. This book, though, you geared toward parents, toward arming them, right?
Exactly. Again, I'm trying to get my message across to parents. Number one, that it's not just the school's responsibility to protect your child. I think a lot of parents assume that, well, my child's school has an anti-bullying program, so that's enough. I always say it's kind of akin to letting your child swim in the ocean without knowing how to swim just because there's a lifeguard on duty. So you want to empower your child.
Analogy.
Well, the thing is, the school can't protect everybody. And, a lot of times from my experience working with kids who are being bullied, and, the first thing they do is they tell, which of course they should, and they go to the teachers, the principal. But a lot of times the school has nothing to go by except for the word of the two kids involved. And they have to be impartial. They can't just necessarily believe the bully or the victim, and you end up with a situation where they can't really do a whole lot.
Well, and in fact, you mentioned the schools having anti-bully programs, and across South Jersey, Philadelphia has a great program across the Delaware and Lehigh Valleys across the country. But you know what? There was recently a study, there have been a couple studies on this, but the most recent one, I think just released last week, said that schools that have those anti-bully policies, actually now kids are becoming, the bullies are becoming savvy. So now they know the policy, so they know where the loopholes are and how to skirt around it. So they have more bullying in those schools because the kids are getting smarter.
Well, unfortunately, you're exactly right. What happens, first of all, most of the institutionalized anti-bullying programs that schools use, they're meant to reduce the whole incidents of bullying. In other words, they try to educate the kids to have more empathy and be nicer, and they're trying to eliminate it from the bully's perspective, which is a little bit effective, but really you can't eliminate it altogether, because the kids who tend to be bullies, the kids who are inclined to bully other kids, they're not really interested in being empathetic. They're not really looking to be nice. So that's one thing. The other issue is, like you said, that they're coming up with policies that they have to protect, the schools have to protect themselves from legal action by the bully's parents, not just the victim's parents. So they're trying to be fair, which you end up with, a zero tolerance type policy. And unfortunately, a lot of savvy bullies can use that to their advantage, because they know if the victim goes and complains, they're going to end up on equal footing.
Yeah, which is unfair.
Right.
So we want to take a quick break. We are here with author and martial arts expert, Master Ron Zohar. We're going to be right back with some of your questions. The number to call here live on The Dawn Show is 866-472-8868. And Master Ron is actually going to show you techniques, things that you as a parent or caregiver can do, and things that your kids can do that could change their lives, right here on The Dawn Show.